Hey, welcome back. It's Stoney and I got a great video for you today. So I've been on vacation for the last week, and for the last 3 days I've been making a pergola on my deck. You can see it all around me right now. And I kind of wanted to take you on the journey and show you, how I built it, what materials I used, and maybe this will spark some interest and give you an idea of how you want to do a pergola on your patio, porch, or deck. Now there's so many ways you can do this. There's no wrong way. We were searching online a lot, and we found a bunch of different ways, and we chose one, and this is the one that we chose. So I do hope you enjoy this. I'm going to show you the end product right now of how it looks in the daytime and at night. And then if you want to choose to watch it, how I build it, please stay tuned. I don't go into very deep depth on this. I just kind of touch on some major key points that you have to do when you build a pergola. Now, also, since I won't be at the end of the video, please like the content and subscribe. It goes a long way and it does help my channel out a lot. And once this is all completed and waterproof with canvas on top and curtains and furniture, I'll do one more video, a part 2, just to show you how it all kind of came together. So stay tuned and check it out. So let me show you what I did yesterday. So my deck goes out 20 feet and it's about 18 feet wide. And the pergola that I'm gonna make, I'm gonna use 2x8s to span the whole 20 feet. Well, actually it's 18 feet. And what I did is I just got 11 of these because they're gonna be 2 feet apart. And then I just took a cut off the side. I have it 2 inches down, and then it was 7.5 inches from here to here, and I made just a cut like that. So I did 11 of those on both sides, and then on top of those, I'm going to call them trusses, but they're not really trusses, but on top of those I'm going to have every 2 feet boards like this. This is another 2x8. This is going to go in the center, going out towards the end of my deck. And then 2 feet over from that, I'm gonna have one that's gonna be at 6.5 inches, and then one at 5.5 inches, and then one at 4.5, 3.5, 1.5. And that will give me a slope on the top of my pergola that I can put a canvas or a vinyl cover to weatherproof it from rain and some sunlight. So that's the idea that I'm gonna do. It's just an idea that you can use possibly if you want to do a pergola yourself. We just want ours to be covered, and this is the best way that we can do it, to have a slope in the middle, from the middle to each side. Now, to hold the trusses in place every 2 feet, I went ahead and I bought a whole bunch of these truss hangers. They're in a square where you have your 2x4 sit on the inside, and then you could nail it down. So I had to buy 22 of those, and then I spray painted them black because all the hardware on our deck is black. So those are going to be used to attach, again, the truss to the beam that goes all the way out from the house to the end of the deck. The last brackets I'm going to use are these U-shaped brackets, and these are going to go on top of each of the trusses every 2 feet to hold the 20-foot pieces of wood that are cut at different sizes to give me that slope. And they're just, like I said, U-shaped brackets, really easy to use. I spray painted them black. They were a steel color. Yeah, but you're gonna see all this come together in the next few minutes of this video. Now, I already have my post and my beam up. As you can see right here, I have 2 of these, one on each side. And if you haven't seen the video where I actually put the wire in between all of the fence posts, you can see that. Gives it a real nice look. Check it out. It's a really quick video. I show you how to do that, and it turns out really great. Now, I already went ahead and I put the brackets up there for my trusses on one side, but I wanted to save the other side for you. So we'll come over here. Now, I went ahead and I put a Sharpie marker at 2 feet increments all the way down the length of the beam. Now I want you to do that with Sharpie and then have it come down about 1.25 inches, and I'll show you why here in just a second. And then one more thing, just to show you real quick again what we're going to do. This is 18 feet across and the deck is 20 feet long this way. So the trade name for these are hurricane ties. Now I know I said truss brackets. There's all kinds of different hangers and stuff like that, but this is made specifically more so for trusses that go on top of a wall, like on your second story or your first story when you have a roof structure attaching to it. These work really good. Now, there are different types of brackets you can use for a pergola that look a little better and they're more decorative. We just like the way that this is going to look. That's why we chose to go with this. But I'm going to show you real quick how to put this on. It's a foolproof way to know you have it level and for it to work out just perfectly fine. So first things first, go ahead and grab yourself just a spare piece of wood. This is just a chunk I cut off from those trusses earlier, and stick it inside of your hurricane tie like how I have right here. Now, that line that I had you draw right there, slide your bracket, make sure it's fully up and seated right here. Slide this bracket over to where the line just shows up in the middle. That's going to tell you that your truss is going to be centered right on your mark. Now, I put that line there for a couple reasons. That was the first reason. The second reason is when you're going to nail this down, you want to hold this piece of wood like this and the bracket, and make sure the wood is sitting flush on your beam. And then I want you to take a nail on this bottom hole, and as you're holding this down tight, you're going to nail that nail in there. Once that's done, you'll do that nail right there, and you could verify again that that mark is in the center, because sometimes these tend to rotate kind of like this, and that's why you want to put that bottom one in first, because then you can line up that line in the middle and hammer that nail. Now once that's done, you can do this one, and then lastly put this nail in, but the whole time holding on to the bracket and your spare piece of wood, and that will make it so this is completely lined up and level where you want it. Next thing we're going to do, we're going to pre-position our U-brackets on the top of our trusses. So I'm going to do it as I put each truss on. I'm going to put these brackets on, and it was really quite simple. All of these boards are the exact same size. So I found center, which is right here. That's at 120.5 inches. And I just went 23 inches, 23 inches, 23 inches, 23, and then 21.5 with 7 inches from the end to the center right there. So what I did is I wrote down on a piece of paper all my measurements starting from the left, from the edge, and I'll have a mark at each of those parts. And then I do the same thing on this side too. I'll go from the edge right here, go 7, 28.5, and then so on till I get to the center. That way everything is lined up perfectly when I go to put all these trusses on. Now I want to show you the last one real quick right here. So I just have a line with an X. All I'm going to do, take my bracket, line up the hole in the middle just like those hurricane ties, put my nail in there, and then hammer away, and I'm good to go. So after this is all done on this one truss, I'll go put it up in the middle of my deck. All right, so I just put the beam in place. You could do it with one person. If you do have a second person, it's a lot easier. Just have one on this ladder, one over there on that ladder. But I just kind of skirted up on this side first and then lifted it up and put it over there. Now what I have to do, I already took a measurement before. I need to make sure that I'm 11 inches from the tip of the end of the board to the outside edge there of my beam right up there. So if I have 11 inches there, that means that I'll have 11 inches over here as well. And the board's centered. Easy stuff. So I'll just take 6 nails on each side here on the other side and then over there. So 12 total. Get that pounded in. And then I got 1 truss up and I got 11 more to go. I got all the trusses on yesterday, right before the sun went down. There you go right there. So now today I'm gonna work on putting those pieces of wood, those 20 footers that go the full length of my deck out towards the forest over there. And this is gonna be really easy. I already got all my brackets installed on top of all of my trusses, so it's gonna be super quick, super easy. All I'm gonna do, I'm gonna use just some screws on each side of those brackets to hold those pieces of wood into place. Let me show you one more thing of why I had you put the brackets on before you put these boards in place. Now this is just me in the middle of my deck, but I want to show you when you put the brackets in place. I know they don't look like they're lined up, but they are lined up because I made all the right measurements. So now those pieces of wood should just fall right into place on all these brackets. So that's why you want to do it while it's on the ground. It's a lot easier. You're putting less stress on these truss boards from nailing these down. But yeah, they're all into place. They're all nice in line. Let's get this finished. All right, I just got all those boards put on top of my initial set of trusses. This is what's gonna hold the canvas on top to make it waterproof. Now there is a slope. This beam right here is in the middle. This is at 7.5 inches. Then it goes 6.5, 5.5, 4.5, 3.5, 2.5. So I have about a 1/2 inch per foot worth of slope, which is plenty for water to come off. And you know, it's gonna work out great. You know, this is gonna just be for the fall and winter time, just to make sure it stays dry, you know, underneath down here on the deck surface. But that's it. There's nothing really much, you know, to say about a pergola. They're really simple. Just follow a few things. If you don't want to have it waterproof, then you don't need to make these slopes. You can have these all be, you know, 5.5 or 3.5 or, you know, 7.5. It doesn't matter. You don't have to do a slope. We are just choosing to do a slope because it rains here a lot and we don't want to have to deal with water on our furniture. Thanks for watching the video. I hope you guys really did enjoy it.